Alright guys, welcome back to Sploosh MTB. I can't see anything. Okay, we have a beautiful 15-degree day out here. It's very cold. We are out here. We've got the bike in the back. We're gonna do something and change it up a little bit today. We are gonna go over how I feel about this bike 6 months since the day I bought it. I'm gonna go over some of the modifications I've done on the bike. I'm gonna go over some of the things I love about it, some of the things I don't love so much about it. It is probably the perfect bike for me at this time in my life. So I'm gonna have a lot of good things to say about it. I'm gonna have some bad things to say about it for sure. It's a beautiful bike. Let's get into it. First things first, I cleaned her up a little bit. It is not gonna be spotless. There's so much salt and snow and everything gross on the ground right now here in Maryland. So it's not the cleanest bike. I ride this thing a lot. So the first thing I want to introduce is for this year, 2022, I am supported by 758 Studios. So you're gonna see this logo a bit. Awesome mountain bike gear company. They do casual riding gear, they do moto gear, anything you can think of that you would want for riding, they do it, and they do it with the best quality. So get yourself some merch. I'm gonna drop a link in the bio. I mean, these gloves are perfect. Nice little stretch to them. Really comfortable. Pretty warm actually too, because it's 15 degrees out here. Let's get into some of the components. Let's just start up front. We'll just start with the tire. This is not the way anyone else probably does it because I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but DHR2s, front and rear. Honestly, coming from XC tires on my old hardtail, these tires are amazing. They grip where you want the grip, they flex where you want the flex, they just stick to the ground really freaking well. I run them at a little bit of a higher PSI because I have had a few flats here and there. Is that just due to me and taking ridiculous lines where I just want to go over the sharpest rocks possible and see if I can gap them and land right on them accidentally? Yeah, probably, but that's irrelevant. So run them at a little higher pressure, still feel amazing to me. I like them a lot. Obviously, the tires are something you can put on any bike and get with any bike, so we're not gonna stress too hard on that. Let's see, they come with SRAM Code R brakes. Love these things. They stop me when I need to stop because I do some dumb stuff sometimes and need to stop pretty fast. Not sure of the exact size of the rotors, but they're big, they stop. One of my favorite things about this bike that is so irrelevant really is the hydraulic dropper pros. This is the RockShox Reverb Stealth. It's a 150 dropper and it's so fast. It's a little slow right now. It's cold. You know, sometimes we get a little slower in the cold. It's fine. But this thing is very fast, very responsive, and takes little to no effort to go down because it's hydraulic. All right, one of the favorite parts, suspension time. This is the Fox Performance 36. Wish it was a factory, it's not. Fox, if you want to sponsor me, get me some Kashima. No, this is a beautiful fork. So this is 150 millimeters of travel on the front, and it is plenty. I run this thing pretty stiff, stiffer than some other people would. I feel like on a normal ride, I maybe use, I would say 75% of the travel. Why is that? Because I don't like riding super squish. I feel like I bounce a little too much. I know I could play around with my rebound and things like that, but the bike just feels really good the way I have it, so I try not to do too much with that, like a little bit stiff. And that way also if I huck giant drops and things like that, which I tend to do from time to time, then I don't feel so bad about bottoming out the fork. Otherwise, as far as how it actually works, beautiful, responsive, very plush feeling. There is no point where I feel like it's not doing its job. A little aftermarket piece here. This is from Groundkeeper Custom. They do all sorts of mud guards and all that stuff. I got myself the little oil slick one because I'm your local hype beast and we like oil slick. All right, moving on, while we're on aftermarket parts, we've got here the 1-Up pump. It is fully loaded. I'll take it apart a little later and show you all the components inside. It's got CO2 cartridge, it's got a full multi-tool, it's got tire levers, it's obviously a big 100cc pump, I believe. It's a big boy. And straps right here underneath your bottle cage, very conveniently. Let us go to the pedals. Obviously, you guys know, local hype beast, gotta run the 1-Up oil slick pedals. These flats are amazing. I've definitely hit them on a lot of things and they still look beautiful. They're covered in a little bit of salt right now. Didn't get to clean them too well. That's okay. We ride our bikes. They're not just pavement princesses. When I'm using my flat pedal shoes, so my 510s, these things, I don't think I've ever slipped a pedal while actually riding. The more times I get pedal strikes and slip pedals is when I'm just walking around with my bike, and they grip like no other. All right, rear shock. RockShox Super Deluxe Select Plus, 145 mils of travel for this year's Hightower, and what can I say? It feels amazing. I come from an old XC hardtail. I've ridden quite a few full suspension bikes, but I've never really taken into account like all the technicalities of the shock. It's nice. I wish it had a trail mode. I've seen a lot of bikes that have a trail setting. I know I can adjust all my rebound and all that stuff, but realistically it has an open switch and it has a closed switch. There's kind of no in between. It's just flips open and closed. That's the only complaint I have with the shock. Otherwise, feels amazing. Like I said with the front, I run this one a little bit stiffer as well. All right, on to probably one of the most important parts about this bike, especially this build. This comes with a GX Eagle on it. So the GX is a wonderful, wonderful drivetrain from SRAM. The cranks it comes with are also pretty darn beautiful, I'm not gonna lie. The GX is amazing. It never slips for me. It never has had any issues. Actually, I lied. I had one issue after I had a bad crash. Derailleur was bent, derailleur hanger was bent, and I had to replace the hanger. Very inexpensive fix. Otherwise, the GX has performed super, super well for 6 months. No issues. I do get it regularly serviced by my local bike shop. They are wonderful about that. All right, now for a little bit of a fun piece that I actually just added. So I went ahead and got myself a set of better bolts, rear pivot and suspension bolts, and of course they're in oil slick. And quite honestly, in this sunlight, they look beautiful. Look at this. They look beautiful. Oh. Now, is it worth it? Are the bolts worth it? Honestly, give or take. If you're getting them for a discounted price, or you just want to spend a little bit more money, then yes, it's worth it. They're beautiful bolts. They're titanium. You can't go wrong. Very good quality bolts. But it's a bit pricey. It's a bit pricey. All right. So I've just bragged about every feature on this bike and told you how great it is and all of that. Let's talk a little bit about how some of these things are maybe not so great. That's why there are higher tier models. This one runs you about 6,000 USD. So it's up there with a lot of the components, but it's nowhere near top of the line. Parts that I don't like so much. The dropper. I mentioned it runs a little bit slower in the cold. I hit this switch. That's a little slower than usual. Coming with the hydro dropper, wonderful, because then you don't have to deal with the cable dropper and all of the playing around with that, especially with internal cable routing. So it's really nice, but yes, it slows down in the cold. That's my only complaint. And another thing, I can't say I don't really like it, but it's something that I do notice is when I have this bike in the low pivot, because it does have the virtual pivot point as Santa Cruz does, I tend to bottom out my cranks a lot on certain techie things. As you can see, cranks pretty worn, and these are a newer set of cranks. So I do hit rocks and things like that because this is not much ground clearance right there. So you really got to focus on your tech, got to focus on your jibbing around and things like that if you're running in the low setting. Obviously, if you're riding a lot of tech, doing climbing, technical climbing, stuff like that, you're gonna want it in the high pivot setting. That way you just have a better time climbing, have a better time over tech. But I do a lot of little free ride kind of stuff. I do a lot of just playfulness, do a lot of bike park, just try to rip trails as hard as I can, to be honest. So that low pivot setting is a lot more fun for me, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. Another thing I really love though are these E13 hubs. They sound amazing. These are really loud, but if you like loud, that's great. If you want to keep it subtle, not great hubs for you. Other very minor details that I've added here: oil slick valve caps. I think I got those off Amazon for like very cheap. And obviously bottle cage. I got these 1-up straps holding on a spare tube because Lord knows we need it. So there you have it. Those are the things I really enjoy about my bike, maybe not so much enjoy about my bike. I can't imagine having had another bike over the past 6 months, between the park riding, the trail riding, the urban riding that we do around the streets, which I will have videos of pretty soon. It's just a lot of fun. It's like the perfect bike. You've got 150 in the front, 145 in the rear. That is so much travel. Unless you're doing insane stuff, downhill racing, all this stuff, I can't see anyone needing a lot more than that. Wanting? Maybe. Needing? Probably not. Not around here. I can safely say this is the perfect all-around bike for me. Is it perfect for you? Let me know if you have one. But if you consider all the things I just talked about today, it could be the perfect bike for you too. I know stock is super low and finding these are getting harder and harder, but it might be getting better soon. Try out one of these, go to your local bike shop, demo one, see if you enjoy it. This bike can quite honestly do it all. Let me know what you guys think about this bike, if you've had it, if you've been riding it for the past few months, if you're looking forward to get one of these. I can't recommend it enough for my riding style, for the way I like to ride, and honestly, it's just a beautiful bike. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is something very different on the channel. I know we do a lot of POV riding stuff. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight onto what I ride, how I ride it, some of the things I've done to it. Let me know if you guys want to see more bike reviews. I'm no like technical guru with this bike stuff, but I like bikes. I like nice bikes. I like any bikes. If you guys want to see more, I can review this guy's bike. He's got an enduro comp. I know a lot of people really like these new Specialized enduro comps. I see a lot of them around here where we ride, so if anyone is interested in me reviewing one of these, let me know. We didn't hop on the bike today, but thanks for hopping on the bike with me. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.